What's going on, everybody? I may not be able to drive my vehicles because I'm on home quarantine, but I can still sit in them and act like it. I'm just kidding. But I did think I'd shoot this in the Jeep, and there's something I want to talk about. Is now the right time to buy a new truck, car, SUV, minivan, whatever you're in the market for? Is now the time to do that. There are tons of companies giving plenty of incentives, and most of them are offering, 60 to 90 days, no payments, because they know a lot of people right now are off work. A lot of people are laid off, especially in the food industry, like waiters and waitresses and stuff like that, where a lot of industry has went to, carry out only or drive through only and stuff like that. So they've had to lay off people. There are a lot of factories and industries and stuff like that that have laid off people to shut down their facility to help fight the coronavirus and to keep people away from each other. And I can only see more and more companies doing that. So a lot of manufacturers, such as, mainly all of them, I ain't gonna name them all because mainly all of them, are deferring your payments out at least 60 days, if not longer. So if you decide to buy a vehicle, you don't have to make that payment while you may be laid off. Now, you don't just tack that on to the end. And I'm not sure what the financing is on all of these. I'm sure they have low financing rates, so that finance interest rate may actually build up. What I meant to say is interest rates. They may build up over that 3 months. I'm not sure how that works, but there is one company that I'm going to talk about that is doing something amazing right now. And maybe they're just trying to draw in, new car owners or something like that, new car buyers. But it's still amazing what they're doing. Now, like I said, all companies are offering incentives right now, and a lot of companies will even deliver these homes to your house so that you don't have to go to their dealership to buy it. It's almost like a completely online experience, which is probably what the world is going to anyway. Now, it would kind of be hard for me to go and just purchase a vehicle online without driving it. But who knows? You may have been looking at buying a new truck or SUV or car over the last couple months and test drove a lot of them and know exactly which one you want, exactly the color you want and stuff like that. And you can find that car online. You know how it drives because you've driven it in the past. And now may be the right time for you to buy. But let's talk about this one company that is just doing amazing things right now. I can't stress this enough. And I've always said that if I hadn't have bought my Tundra, this is one of the trucks that I would have definitely looked at. Now, one of the trucks, like I said, was a Titan, and the other one is with the company that I'm talking about right now, and that is the Chevy Silverado. If I hadn't have bought a Tundra, a Silverado was actually high on my next trucks list to buy, or my next list of trucks to buy, let me say that. But let me tell you about what Chevy or GMC is doing right now. For qualified buyers, you get 0% interest for 84 months. Yes, I know people say, God, I couldn't stretch a car payment out 84 months. It's 0% interest. You're not losing anything. That's why a lot of people don't want to do it. One of the reasons is because the interest rate, you'd almost buy the vehicle twice by the time you got it paid off in that length of time. But if it's 0%, you're not losing nothing there. Now, yeah, by the time you get it paid off, the thing may be wore out. It depends on how much you drive it. But new vehicles are lasting a lot longer now than they used to. Back in the 50s and 60s, if a car had 100,000 miles on it, it was done. But nowadays, it's nothing to see, even like Wranglers like I'm sitting in right now. And Wranglers are not known for the reliability, but you still see them all the time with 200 and 250,000 miles on them. And they're still bringing a premium online when people go to sell them. And trucks are the same way. You see them with tons and tons of miles on them now. So after 84 months, that truck's still going to be worth quite a bit of money. And it's probably not going to be worn out. But 0% interest for 84 months, that's very enticing. But that's not all. They are also offering no payments. They're deferring the payments for 120 days. 120 days. That's a long time to defer payments. And if you got 0% interest, there's no interest to build up on that 120 days. So, you know, if you're laid off, you have good credit, and you've been wanting to buy a new truck, and when I say laid off, I'm saying laid off as in you will have a job, you know, in the next month or two when this coronavirus outbreak kind of lets up a little bit, because a lot of companies are shutting down for 2 to 3 weeks, not 120 days. So, I'm saying if you have a job, if you're totally laid off, you may not be qualified for the 0% stuff like that. But, you know, if you're in a situation where your company's going to start back in a couple weeks, you're probably in a situation to where you can get qualified for the 0%. And if you defer those payments for 120 days, like I said, no interest is going to be building on that while you're not making the payment. Now, yes, you'll still be putting miles on the vehicle. Probably depends on where you live. I think in some cities in California, you're not allowed to be out. And that may be the way it is everywhere. So you may wind up having a new vehicle sitting in your driveway. You can't even drive. But like I said, no payments for 120 days. That's amazing with 0% interest for 84 months. If I was looking for a new Chevy Silverado, now is the time I would jump all over that. And they are also offering that you can do this online. So if you are looking to buy a new vehicle, you can basically do the whole thing online, and they will deliver the vehicle to your house in some instances. Now, depending on where you live, that may not be possible. But in some instances, they can even deliver this vehicle to your house, and you never have to go into the dealership. So imagine that. You just get online, find the one you want. You know you want a Silverado or a Tahoe or whatever it may be. You pick out the color. If they have it on their lot, you do the whole thing online. You get 0% interest for 84 months. And the reason I think that's great is because a lot of people nowadays can't afford to buy a new truck. I mean, there's new Silverados that's hitting $70,000 or more, depending on if you want like a Duramax or something. So, I mean, my gosh, if you're a normal, you know, person like I am with a normal job, and I have a pretty decent job, especially for where I live, $65,000, $70,000 for a truck is a huge payment. And most people can't afford to go buy that truck and finance it for 5 years anyway, and have like a $1,300 or $1,400 car payment, which is more than a lot of people's house payment is on a vehicle. Yeah, you're going to get it paid off a little bit sooner, but you're not going to be able to go out and eat at a fancy restaurant for 5 years. So I'm not sure that's worth it. So that's why I'm not totally against financing for 84 months. Because like I said, a lot of people don't have that big down payment to put down on these vehicles. To get that payment down at least in the $600 or $700 range, which is still a big truck payment. My truck payment, I think, is like $650-ish. So, that's still a big car payment, but that's about where you're going to be at if you're looking at buying a new truck, if not even more than that. So this 0% for 84 months is really going to help the people out there that have normal jobs like me, that don't have, you know, $100,000 in the bank so they can put a, you know, $20,000 or $30,000 down payment and get your, you know, loan to $35,000 or $40,000. That's hard to believe that you're going to put $30,000 down on a vehicle and still owe $35,000 or $40,000 on it. That's just it's hard to fathom to me that vehicles have got that far out of hand. But like I said, you can buy this and they'll deliver it to your house in some instances, and you never even have to go, you know, in and, you know, deal with people or be around people in this coronavirus scared time. So there's one more thing that I want to talk about that GM is actually doing that I want to praise them for. All right, GM has shut down the majority, if not all, of their factories right now to help fight the coronavirus. And, you know, the further we can be around, social distancing is what everybody's calling it. The further we can get away from people, the better off we are. Because if you're not around them, the virus doesn't have legs. It can't walk to you. You physically have to go out and find it. It's like a Where's Waldo, but you're looking for the virus. So the further we can stay away from people, the better off we are. But they are offering their factories to a company that makes ventilators so that they can better faster produce ventilators in their facilities and help get these things shipped out to hospitals to better take care of people that have the coronavirus and are fighting off that virus and get those people better. Kudos to GM for doing that. I mean, that is stand up. I don't know if other companies are doing it. I just read today that they are one of the ones that are, and that's amazing that they're actually helping the community and the whole world that way. You know, if they're not going to have their factories open to their workers, and these ventilator factories have to work to produce these things, you know, people in the medical field and law enforcement and military and stuff like that, they don't get to quarantine. They have to be out there. My wife's an RN. She has to go to work to help take care of the people in the facility that she works at. So the ventilator people, they have to make those ventilators to get them out to the hospitals and care facilities to actually fight this disease. So those people still have to work, and kudos to GM for helping those companies make those ventilators to try to end this horrible pandemic that we're in right now. I want to thank GM for that personally. If nobody else does, you know, Gear Runner, thank you, GM. I think you are doing great work right now, and I appreciate all the incentives that you're giving to my subscribers and everybody across the world. I think that's great. You may be trying to just pull in new car buyers, but still, that's pretty awesome in my opinion. And if you're looking for a new truck, now is probably definitely the time to buy one. I appreciate y'all watching this video. Please like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you next time.